There's a secret Marcus Aurelius whispered to himself in the darkest hours of the Roman Empire. Mantra so powerful, it transformed a man tormented by anxiety into history's wisest emperor. By the end of this story, you'll discover why that same mantra can erase your anxiety in seconds. But first, let me tell you something that will shock you. You know that tightness in your chest that appears out of nowhere? That relentless storm of thoughts that invades your mind at 3 in the morning. That feeling that something terrible is about to happen, even when everything seems fine. Marcus Aurelius knew this pain better than any of us. Imagine, for a moment, the most powerful man in the known world, Lord of legions and empires, waking up every night with a racing heart, breaking into a cold sweat, his mind galloping like a runaway horse through catastrophic scenarios that never came to pass. The philosopher emperor suffered from chronic anxiety, and it was precisely this pain that led him to discover something that would change not only his life, but the lives of millions over the centuries. A mantra Eckhart Tolle would deem perfect, a mental formula that acts like an anxiety off switch. But here's what no one tells you about this discovery. It wasn't in the opulent halls of Rome that Marcus found the answer. It wasn't in the scrolls of the great Greek philosophers. It was in a moment of utter despair, during a battle on the desolate, freezing frontiers of the empire, when anxiety nearly destroyed him completely. Have you ever felt that your mind is your worst enemy? That your thoughts have turned against you like traitors in a silent war? Marcus felt this every day. The difference is that he found a way to transform this internal war into instant peace. The incredible thing is that the solution was hidden in a single phrase. 7 simple words that held the power to disarm any mental storm. Before revealing these magical words, you need to understand something fundamental about the nature of anxiety that will completely change your relationship with it. Anxiety is not your enemy. It never was. Stop. Breathe deeply. Let this idea sink in for a moment. Anxiety is like a faulty alarm system that goes off when there's no fire. Your primitive mind, desperate to protect you, has created a defense system so sensitive that it interprets shadows as monsters, thoughts as real threats, possibilities as certainties. Marcus realized this during that freezing night on the frontier. He was in his tent, surrounded by the distant sound of howling wolves, when anxiety struck him like a spear to the chest. But this time, instead of fighting it, he did something revolutionary, something the Stoics called a shift in perspective. He stopped seeing anxiety as an invader and began to see it as a misguided signal. And it was in this moment of understanding that the mantra was born. You want to know the secret behind those 7 words? Why they work when medications fail? Why modern therapists still turn to the wisdom of an emperor from 2,000 years ago? The answer lies in the neuroscience of attention. When you're anxious, your mind is trapped in an impossible time loop. You're living in the future, trying to control events that don't yet exist. It's like trying to hold water in your open hands. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips away. Marcus's mantra does something modern science only recently understood. It anchors your consciousness in the only moment that truly exists, the now, but not in a forced or artificial way. In a way that honors your humanity. Eckhart Tolle discovered this same principle decades later, when he was on the verge of suicide on a park bench in London. The revelation that saved his life was almost identical to Marcus's discovery. The difference is that Marcus transformed this revelation into a practical formula, the code you can activate instantly, even in the midst of an anxiety attack. Here's what will surprise you even more. This mantra doesn't work by trying to eliminate anxiety. It works by completely changing your relation. It's like transforming an enemy into an ally through a shift in perspective. Imagine your anxiety is like a ferocious dog barking at you. Most people try to run away or fight the dog. Marcus discovered a third option. He learned to speak the dog's language. When you speak the language of anxiety, something magical happens. It stops attacking and starts protecting. Are you feeling this change happening within you now? This growing curiosity about how exactly this works? This feeling that you're about to discover something that will change everything? That's your nervous system recognizing an ancestral truth. Your body knows this wisdom is real, even if your mind is still processing. But before revealing the 7 sacred words, you need to properly prepare yourself. This mantra is not just a phrase. It's a portal to a state of consciousness that most people never experience. It's the mental state Marcus called the unshakable core. A place within you that remains calm even when everything around you is falling apart. Still center of the hurricane. Eckhart Tolle calls it presence. Buddhists call it awakened mind. Modern psychologists call it flow state. But the name doesn't matter. What matters is that you can access this state at any time using the right words. These words carry a specific frequency, a vibration that resonates with the deepest part of who you are. The part that existed before anxiety appeared. The part that will continue to exist long after all your fears have been forgotten. You feel this part of you now? That silent presence, observing all your thoughts? It's always there, calm, serene. This is your true identity. Everything else is just temporary noise. And Marcus's mantra was designed specifically to reconnect you with this authentic identity. All the masks of anxiety fall away. But here's something no self-help book will tell you. The more you try to control your anxiety, the more powerful it becomes. It's like trying to stop ocean waves with your hands. Marcus learned this the hard way. For years, he tried to combat his anxiety with logic and discipline, until he realized he was fighting himself. True wisdom isn't in conquering anxiety, it's in dancing with it. 7 words you're about to discover are the steps of this ancient dance. A choreography that transforms chaos into harmony, fear into courage, agitation into serenity. You ready to learn this dance? Because once you master these steps, you will never again be held hostage by your anxious thoughts. You will become the maestro of your own mental symphony. First, let me warn you about something important. This mantra will challenge everything you believe about control. It will demand that you let go of the need to have all the answers. It will ask you to trust a wisdom greater than your rational mind. That can be scary at first, because our culture has taught us that we need to be always in control, that anxiety is a sign of weakness. We should be able to solve all our problems through sheer willpower. Marcus Aurelius discovered that this is a dangerous lie. True strength doesn't lie in controlling every thought. It lies in choosing which thoughts deserve your attention. And the mantra he developed is like a sacred filter for your mind. It separates what is real from what is imagination, what is urgent from what is merely noise, what deserves your energy from what should simply be observed and let go. Imagine your mind as a turbulent river, full of branches leaves, and debris being swept along by the current. Most people try to stop the river or fish out every piece of trash. Marcus Aurelius learned to sit on the bank and simply watch the river flow. You learn to do that, something extraordinary happens. The river doesn't stop flowing, but you stop being swept away by it. You become the bank, solid, stable. At 7 words that Marcus Aurelius whispered to himself are like a sacred anchor. Fix you to this bank of serenity, no matter how wild the river of your mind is flowing. And the beauty is that you don't need to believe in the words for them to work. You just need to practice them. It's like a medicine that works regardless of your faith in it. He realized that certain words carry healing power, like ancient mantras encoded with wisdom. And Marcus Aurelius's mantra is perhaps the most powerful of all. It was tested in the most extreme laboratory possible. The mind of an emperor under absolute pressure. If it worked for a man responsible for millions of lives, facing wars, betrayals, and the weight of the world on his shoulders, imagine what it can do for your everyday anxiety. But there's a condition for the mantra to work completely. You need to be willing to let go of your story of suffering. I know this might sound strange, but think for a moment. How many times have you introduced yourself to someone through your problems? I'm an anxious person. I've always been this way. My family has a history of... These stories have become part of your identity. And although they may have served as protection in the past, they have now become gilded cages. Marcus Aurelius realized that he was not his anxious thoughts. You are not either. You are the consciousness that observes those thoughts, the presence that exists before, during, and after any emotion. And truly understand this, not just intellectually, but viscerally. This is your true nature awakening. And now you're ready to receive the gift that Marcus Aurelius left for humanity. The 7 words that changed an empire. The mantra that transformed the most anxious man in Rome into the wisest emperor in history. Take a deep breath. Feel your body relax, because what you are about to learn will resonate in your soul for decades. This too shall pass, and it is well. 7 simple words. But within them is encoded a wisdom that can disarm any mental storm in seconds. Did you feel that? That subtle relief that went through your chest when you read those words? That's not a coincidence. It's your nervous system recognizing an ancient healing frequency. But let me explain why these specific words carry so much power. The first part, this too shall pass, frees you from the illusion of permanence. Your anxiety feels eternal when you're inside it, as if it will never end, as if you are condemned to feel this weight forever. Marcus Aurelius knew that this is the biggest lie the anxious mind tells. Everything in life is temporary. Your deepest pains, your darkest fears, even your most persistent thoughts. When you truly absorb this truth, something magical happens. The urgency of anxiety disappears. There's no rush to solve something that's already dissolving naturally. It's like watching clouds in the sky. You don't need to push them to make them move. They're already in constant motion. Second part of the mantra is even more revolutionary, and it is well. These 4 words contain the secret that therapists take years to teach. Radical acceptance. Not passive resignation, but active acceptance that transforms resistance into fluidity. Stop fighting your anxiety and simply allow it to exist. Something extraordinary happens. It loses all its destructive force. It's like stopping swimming against the current and simply floating. Suddenly, what seemed like a hostile force becomes just the natural movement of life. Eckhart Tolle would say that this is the essence of presence, being completely here, now, with whatever is happening, without judgment or resistance. But Marcus Aurelius went even further. He transformed this philosophy into a practice of war, because ruling an empire is essentially a constant battle against uncertainty. He discovered that the mantra worked on 3 distinct levels. On a physical level, the words instantly calm your nervous system, like a whispered blessing to your cells. Your breathing deepens, your muscles relax, your heart returns to its natural rhythm. On an emotional level, they create a sacred space between you and your feelings. You stop completely identifying with the anxiety and begin to observe it as a temporary phenomenon passing through you. A fleeting storm, a ripple in the vast ocean of your being. On a spiritual level, it connects you to something far greater than your individual mind, to the cosmic wisdom that governs all things, to the infinite intelligence that makes your heart beat without you having to think about it. But here's the secret that transforms the mantra from a simple phrase into a tool of imperial power. You need to whisper these words, as if Marcus Aurelius himself were speaking to his own authority of someone who had every conceivable storm and survived them all, not as a desperate plea, but as a royal decree. Absolute truth being proclaimed by the emperor of your own consciousness. Because that is what you are, the sovereign ruler of your inner world. Every emperor needs to know how to quell internal rebellions. Now, let me teach you exactly how to wield this power. Next time anxiety comes to visit, and it will, because it's part of the human experience, you're going to do something different. Instead of trying to escape or fight, you'll receive it as Marcus received ambassadors from distant territories, with respect, but without fear, with curiosity, but without attachment. You will feel the anxiety arriving. You'll notice where it settles in your body, in your stomach, and then with the calm of a seasoned emperor, you will whisper the mantra. This too shall pass, and it is as you whisper, you'll imagine Marcus at your side. This man who faced political gladiators, bloody betrayals, devastating plagues, and barbarian invasions. This man who knew anxiety more intimately than any, learned to transform it into wisdom. You'll feel his strength flowing through the words. The serenity of someone who has tested this formula in most extreme laboratories of human experience. And then something extraordinary will happen. The anxiety won't magically disappear. At least, not at first. But your relationship with it will change completely. Instead of being dominated by it, you'll become its compassionate observer. Like a wise father observing a child throwing a tantrum. You understand that the tantrum is temporary. The child isn't bad. They're just expressing something they can't communicate otherwise. And that your calm presence is all they really need. Your anxiety is that frightened child within you. And Marcus's mantra is your infinitely patient, fatherly presence. But there's something more you need to understand about this process. Transformation doesn't happen overnight. Marcus took years to fully master this practice, but the first results are immediate. It's like planting an imperial seed in the garden of your consciousness. You don't see the tree immediately, but you can feel life pulsing in the earth. And each time you use the mantra, you're watering that seed, strengthening its roots, allowing it to grow until it becomes an unshakable inner fortress. Eckhart Tolle calls this the dissolving of the pain body. Marcus called it the building of the inner citadel. Different words, for the same miracle. The miracle of discovering that you are much greater than any temporary emotion. Your true essence is unbreakable. You carry within you the same serenity that Marcus found on the desolate, freezing frontiers of the Roman Empire. But here's what'll surprise you most. As you practice the mantra, other areas of your life begin to transform as well. Because anxiety is never just about anxiety. It's about how you relate to the uncertainty of existence. And when you master uncertainty, you become unstoppable. Your relationships become deeper because you stop projecting your fears onto other people. Your creativity explodes because you're no longer spending mental energy trying to control the uncontrollable. Your intuition sharpens. Finally, enough silence within you, wisdom of your heart. You become what Marcus always knew was possible, a fully awakened human being, someone who dances with life instead of fighting against it. And it all starts with 7 simple words. This too shall pass, and it is well. Let me give you an additional tool, original mantra that will accelerate your transformation. Whisper these words. Place your hand on your heart, it beating. This rhythm that began before you learned to fear and will continue long after all your fears have been forgotten. Your heart is your wisest counselor. It never lets itself be deceived by the illusions of the anxious mind. It knows with absolute certainty that you are safe, that you are loved, that you are exactly where you should be. When you combine Marcus's mantra with the wisdom of your heart, a synergy is created that can change your life in a matter of weeks. Do you want to know how I know this works? This isn't just philosophical theory. It's applied neuroscience. You repeat the mantra with your hand on your heart. You're simultaneously activating your vagus nerve, your body's natural healing system, and creating new neural pathways of serenity. It's like reprogramming the software of your mind using the hardware of your heart. And the combination is absolutely powerful. But there's one last thing you need to know. Marcus's mantra won't transform you into someone who never feels anxiety. That would be inhumane. Anxiety is part of the experience of being alive in an uncertain world. What the mantra does is something far more valuable. It transforms you into someone who knows how to dance with anxiety, how to use its energy constructively, how to transform fear into fuel for growth. You become like those martial arts masters who use the opponent's strength to their advantage. Anxiety stops being your enemy and becomes your ally on the journey of self-discovery. Because deep down, all anxiety is trying to teach you something important about yourself, about your values, about what really matters, about where you need to grow. And when you stop running from these lessons and start listening to them, your anxiety transforms into your wisest teacher. Marcus knew this. That's why he never tried to completely. He learned to honor it, to listen to it, and then to let it go with gratitude. Like a wise emperor who listens to all his counselors, but makes his own decisions. Now, you have that same power. 7 words carrying 2,000 years of tested wisdom. A formula that transformed the most powerful man in the ancient world. A mantra that can transform you. This too shall pass, and it is well. Whisper those words now. Feel them resonate in your chest. Notice how something within you already knows they are true. Your anxiety is merely a temporary visitor in the mansion of your consciousness. You are the eternal owner of that mansion. Every visitor, no matter how boisterous, eventually departs. You feel that truth settling within you, that growing certainty that you possess within yourself everything you need to navigate any emotional storm. This is the awakening of your imperial nature, the same strength Marcus discovered on that frigid night on the desolate, freezing frontiers of the Roman Empire. You are not your anxious thoughts. You are not your worries. You are not your fears. You are the serene consciousness that observes it all passing like clouds in an infinite sky. That infinite sky can never be disturbed by any cloud, no matter how dark it may seem. You are that sky, always have been, always will be. And now you have the sacred words to remember this whenever you forget. The Emperor's mantra lives within you. Use it well, because Marcus didn't discover this secret just for himself. He left it as a legacy for all of humanity, for you, for this moment, for this anxiety that brought you here. Perhaps it was never your enemy. Perhaps it was always just a disguised invitation to discover the imperial serenity that slumbered within you.